Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is about Taylor Alesia, and I'm going to prove my point using Revelation 14. So Taylor makes interesting videos, but of course she's accepted the boundaries of the New World Order, the military-industrial complex, corporations, churches, various political groups, what have you. She's trying to sell you on Western culture, teaming up with, whites, Jews, token minorities, LGBT people in a sort of roundabout manner. And so she cites that, these various people who are obviously mocking God are mocking God, and points out some stuff that's interesting, which is the general formula that, the people who work for the government are using. But she herself is mocking God because she's not in the Spirit of God. Anyone who doesn't obey God through me is not in the Spirit of God. Proverbs 24. Whether or not you know it, you're not in the Spirit of God if you're not obeying God through me. Now, some of you might say, well, that's not fair. Well, their arguments tend to be that people who do not know that they're missing out on Jesus are still missing out and are still going to hell. That's generally the arguments that people make when they say that they're Christians. And then quite often they point to fake Christians and people who claim to be anointed who aren't, and so on and so forth. So we see in Revelation 14, it talks about 144,000, a figurative number referring to those who obey God through me. The story again is figurative. So the 144,000 doesn't refer to people who claim to be Jews, whites, Ethiopians, Lemba, whoever. It refers to people who are doing God's work, who have certain characteristics that the various tribes, right, Asher, Gad, Judah, Benjamin, Naphtali, are superimposed on. Remember, the story is figurative. Even the word tribe is a play on words for tribe B. It's also a play on words for art B, because the vowels are interchangeable. It's a story for another day, though. Let's keep this brief here. So then it goes on to say that people who have accepted the mark of the beast will be tormented before God's Son and the angels, what have you, forever. The smoke from their torment will rise forever and ever. Then we get to the harvest. Okay, so obviously we've seen the governing class that they're mostly white, Jew, and LGBT people, and they very much disgrace themselves. So one of the most disturbing things to see these days is white, Jew, and LGBT people trying to feign idealness. It is like seeing Nazis or something, trying to bring back Nazism as they try to kind of push the modern white supremacy. And MAGA sucks, but I'm mostly talking about people who aren't MAGA. People aren't overtly MAGA, at least. People more like Taylor Alesia. Trying to pretend like she's daddy's little girl, that she's found Jesus. She hasn't. And I'm not saying this to kind of, insult her any more than God intends, but these distinctions have to be made. And people are slacking their work, and especially because she's kind of attractive. It reminds me of all the attractive females who are shunning me. It doesn't pay to be an attractive female shunning me in this day and age. I'll have no mercy on them whatsoever. I'm tired of seeing them play stupid. I'm tired of them shunning me. There's going to be extreme punishment. 189,000 people die every day. Among them are attractive females, and they get trampled. So seated on the cloud is one like the Son of Man. It's me on the cloud swinging my sickle. Because you people are sick, you're ill, and you got that way from generations of rebellion, getting worse every generation. So that an angel calls out to me, an angle of God, God's Spirit, a part of God's Spirit, says, now's the time. So then another angle of God, another angel in God's Spirit, has a sickle, and there's a process taking place. That symbolizes the general process. All right, so what are the grapes? What is the wine press? Why does the angel who have charge of the fire speak to the other angel with the other sickle? Well, it has to do with the process of separating the sheep from the goats, of punishing the wicked. The wine stands for their blood, what they live and die for, right? The blood that's shed for God versus the blood that's shed for selfishness, for rebellion, what have you. So instead of people like Taylor pointing right to me, they're pointing to Babylon's system, and they're leading people by example to Babylon's system. And quite often they tell themselves that they're throwing them a bone, or they're helping me out. They're not helping me out. I don't need anybody buddy to help me describe what's going on or explain things. I need people to rally and obey God through me. And that has been the command from God through me for years now, for years. I've been shunned by attractive women. I'm very angry at Western culture. I'm very angry at all these whites and Jews and LGBT people and token minorities who are acting like complete cowards. I look at their lives and I absolutely abhor what they're doing. I abhor the essence of the spirits that they're in. And any souls that are in those spirits are headed straight to hell. And that's every soul that's not obeying God through me. They're in the spirit of rebellion and selfishness. So the 1600 has to do with the 666, but more importantly, it has to do with the process. There is no master code for deciphering any part of the Bible. There's just what's the reality and what are they getting at. You can go on and on about the numbers and connect it to the book called Numbers and connect it to all kinds of numbers all over the Bible. Connected to Deuteronomy, Leviticus, on and on and on. And you might have a moment where you say, oh, that's what that's about. But you can have that moment with a crossword puzzle. So what? Only an old fool, like an old Freemason or something, an old sissy like that, would think that that is good enough. Well, if Taylor happens to see this video, or the Jews and the whites who are overseeing this psyop are not man enough to show her and think that they're bad, like some inferior worm, some punk, some jackal, some sissy, some coward that I trample every day, whose families are in the afterlife getting trampled more and more because they're insufficient. Defeated. I have triumphed over you punks. But if she was to see this video, I want her to look up Dionysus, who's also called Liber. You know the Statue of Liberty? You know you're part of the military-industrial complex? The Statue of Liberty? Liber. That statue person is a pagan person in a trance-like state like you. Fake justice. Lady Justice has to do with helping Zeus rape everyone while pretending to bring justice. The rape of Europa, the rape of European people, and from there the whole world. Baal and his son, or a younger version of himself, Dionysus, who's also called Liber, where we get the word liberty and liberation. And he's a deity of a lot of things, including wine. A lot of things. Some of them include rotting one's soul from the inside while pretending to be important, so-called inspiration, so-called freedom, free, dumb, satanic slavery, fake conceptions of equality, oppression's gimmicks, what passes for arts, it's a joke. What they think passes for arts is a joke. A deed of college frats to some degree, theater, music, revelry, the pagan forms of these things, and the fake Christian forms, which is everything that's not obeying God through me. Moisture, metamorphosis, moisture meaning, fertility, the rain, they draw parallels with the rain and the water and the fertility and the plant growth, right? Metamorphosis, transformation, okay, which is what's going on in Revelation. On him sat death and hell fall with him. The bowls, the trumpets, the bowls, it's like a magic spell bringing in hell and Bel. But they're not supposed to persecute me, but they're far too old and demented, they're far too poorly trained and raised to know that. They are stupid. As if their mere human rules, customs, and traditions transcends the vision of the top martial arts. Imagine being such an old, out-of-touch, batty old, scatterbrained, effeminate punk that you think you know better with your sissy friends than the top martial arts ever possible. Imagine being that fucking stupid. Fuck's wrong with you people? Silly, childish, stupid. Like twice my age and nowhere near as mature as I'm. Fucking pathetic. So a deity of growth of vegetation, of wine, of religious ecstasy. You shut the fuck up. Some bitch ass motherfucker just sent me a message. No, you shut the fuck up, you bitch. I'm the top. You want to meet me toe to toe? Knife to knife, chest to chest, then shut the fuck up. Everyone knows you're a bitch. Everyone on duty, look at him and know that he's a bitch. Bitch ass motherfucker. That's how I put him in their place all day, every day. Anyway, satanic sex, porn, childish. There you go. He's the deity of porn. Childish passion and porn stars who are still that in their own way, who pretend to have changed their lives. Eros, stupid Cupid, satanic instinct, beta, emotion, spiritual death, grapes, harvest, fertility, satanic so-called salvation, and so on and so forth. Okay, so remember that I have 23 witnesses on record to the psychological operation against me, including the fumes and the poisons. So when I say that they're provoking me covertly, it's logical to assume that I'm right. Any psychiatrist or psychologist or police officer or whoever would say otherwise is crazy. You think 23 witnesses on record doesn't prove anything? Having the presence of mind to make sure that I have people saying yes, they're running a psyop on them means nothing? So I want to make that clear. Also, when I said that, that if they want, they can meet me chest to chest, knife to knife, what have you. That's a result of them trying to tell me what to do like I'm a slave. There are racial overtones to this thing, right? There's white Jew and LGBT supremacists, okay, who are trying to tell me what to do. And we all know that when you think of Hollywood, San Francisco, you think of wherever, these are white gay strongholds. And when they try to force someone to be gay in a white culture, it's a racist thing. They're basically saying they want me to reduce my black racial expression, black African, mulatto, what have you, and replace it with a white LGBT expression. They want me to give up being a mulatto heterosexual martial artist to be some kind of sissy second rate slave. And so as they try to enslave me and they threaten me and they use the police and everything and fumes and poisons and they try to play me out as crazy and threaten to take me to the psych ward and so on and so forth, I respond by saying, hey, you're going to do all that, you may as well see me chest to chest, right? And if you don't, you're a punk. And that covers a lot of odds and ends there because everyone watching knows that I'm manning up and they're resorting to hiding behind, the state like some sickly, scared little bitch. And that no one doubts in their mind that I'm the top martial artist. Everyone knows that that's the truth. And everyone knows that somebody trying to take charge of the top martial arts using the state, it's like a little kid having sex with a little puppy or something, thinking it makes him a man. Okay, it's worse than that. It's pathetic.